Shalom, 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 yasha. This your boy, Brother Sham Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Discerning the Times and Order Out of Chaos. Discerning the times and order out of chaos. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. And mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called Discerning the Times and Order Out of Chaos. And I came across this article, a couple of articles that I want to go over. First one is from the Los Angeles Times. So it says, Los Angeles ICE raids spark protests, fear, outrage. Our community is under attack. Okay. And it says a series of surprise U.S. immigration and custom enforcement sweeps in downtown Los Angeles on Friday prompted fierce pushback from elected officials and protesters who decried the enforcement actions as cruel and unnecessary and said they stoked fear in the immigrant community. Tensions remained high in downtown into the evening. The Los Angeles Police Department declared an unlawful assembly and ordered about 200 protesters who remained gathered by the Los Angeles Federal Building to disperse around 7. The use of so-called less lethal munitions was authorized at 8 p.m. following reports of a small group of violent individuals throwing large pieces of concrete at officers, police said. A citywide tactical alert was issued shortly thereafter. Right? Here we go. It says chaos erupted earlier in the day in the heart of the fashion district after federal immigration authorities detained employees inside a clothing wholesaler and used flashbang grenades and pepper spray on a crowd protesting the raid around 1:30. Right, so you see, it's the cause of these things to cause chaos and different things. Okay, it says hundreds of people then rallied outside the Los Angeles Federal Building at 4 p.m., condemning the crackdown and demanded the release of service employees. International Union California President David Herta, who was injured and detained while documenting a raid, according to the statement from the labor union. Our community is under attack and has been terrorized. Angelica Salas, executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, or Trilla, it says, told the crowd of protesters, it says, these are workers, these are fathers, these are mothers. 44 people were administratively arrested and one person was arrested for obstruction during Friday's immigration action, says Yasmin Peets O'Keefe, a spokesman of Homeland Security Investigations, a branch of ICE. Federal agents executed 4 search warrants related to the suspected harboring of people illegally in the country at 3 locations in central Los Angeles, she said. Carlos Gonzalez Gutierrez, Consul General of Mexico in Los Angeles, said his team has identified at least 11 Mexican nationals who were detained during the raids across the Southland. The office is offering them legal service, and he said he is monitoring detention conditions. It says the detention center seems to be at full capacity. Every cell seems to be occupied. Trilla received more than 50 calls on its hotline with reports of ICE sightings and men in military garb in parking lots and in locations near schools, Home Depot stores, and donut shop, according to Solace. All right, so you see, right there, you know, they're pushing this tactic, they're pushing this agenda, right, and they're doing these different things to cause chaos, right? The uproars of the people and the chaos. All right. I want to go to another article that I saw. Salakia. If you want, you can pause if you want to read that. But this is from The Guardian. It says neo-Nazi group actively seeking to grow in U.S. with planned paramilitary training event. An international neo-Nazi terrorist organization is boldly continuing to build in the U.S. and planning a new paramilitary training event without fear of local authorities or FBI, which one dismantled it in a nationwide effort, which once dismantled in a nationwide effort. It says the base, founded in 2018 by a former Pentagon contractor living in Russia and now suspected of Kremlin sponsored espionage, once boasted close to 50 statewide members before the Bureau made more than a dozen arrests in a year-long counterterrorism operation. But since the presidential election campaign last year and what many believe to be a surefire victory for Nero, the base saw an opportunity in a potential administration uninterested in policing white supremacy and went about ramping up its ranks. It says now the base has a presence in Ukraine, performing sabotage operations inside the country against the embattled government, and new and dangerous cells emerging across Europe, and it appears to be growing in Babylon. It says where the FBI under the MAGA acolyte Kash Patel has signaled it isn't prioritizing investigations of far-right extremists. It says in its early history, part of what first piqued the interest of authorities was base's courting of military veterans who could help drill its foot soldiers in a series of training camps across the U.S., eventually implicated in deletion plots, mass shootings, and other actions in Europe. It says the base went so far as to have fortified compound and cell in Michigan led by U.S. Army dropout. Online evidence from its various accounts, several of which live on Russian servers to avoid censorship on American sites, show the base has real plans for a national gathering this summer where members intend to train in paramilitary drills in years past. It says the base in the U.S. is preparing for an upcoming national training event, reads one of its recent posts soliciting crypto donations. This one might be our most attended training event in the U.S. in a while. We could really use some financial support to help our members with travel expenses. So you see, right, you have these things going on, right? You got these far-right groups. You got, this is all part of design, all right? And when you think about it, this is the order out of chaos, all right? And I wanted to get that definition, right? The meaning, it says ordo ab chaos, out of chaos, is a Latin phrase which means order from chaos. It is one of the oldest mottos of craft Freemasonry. It says the phrase is widely associated with well-known Latin phrase lux in tenebris, which translates to light from darkness, another hugely important theme from Freemasonry. It says the motto reflects a belief that order can be created from chaos through understanding and knowledge, as well as belief that the human experience can be created through relationships, right? But ultimately, what they want to do is they want to cause chaos and then have that solution, all right? And that solution ultimately is going to, bring in that new world order, all right, which is going to bring in what? Revelation 13 and 16 and 17, okay? But all this stuff that you see that's going on, where you have these things, and they know it's going to cause the uproars of the people. They know that, they know stuff is going on. They're just like, oh, that's not even our agenda right now. Why? Because they want to cause chaos, right? They want to cause, these mass, things to have people in fear. So now, when people are in confusion and fear and these different tactics, now they have the solution, right? It's like it's an organized way to try to lead people into where they're trying to get them to go, which is that NWO. Okay. So I just want to get a couple of, precepts. Like I said, Lord's will, this is edifying, right? So let's get this. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 9 real quick. All right. 2nd Esdras 9, right? Discerning the times. All right. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9, verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Okay. And, we see, that there's uproars, right, throughout the world. All right. There's earthquakes, right, in diverse places throughout the world. Right. So understanding that these times, the Lord is visiting, all right, the earth which he created. Okay. And through these destructions, through these prophecies. Okay. And understanding that, at this time that we understand that we are in the end times. Okay. And understanding that, so does Esau, right? He knows that his world is coming to an end. All right. But with these uproars and these different things, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. And we see that now, right? Folks they don't care, what the leaders, the rulers are talking about, right? Folks are getting, ramped up, right? You see these far right groups and far left group, they're setting up their different agendas, right? And they could care less, they're going to continue doing it. All right. The people are protesting, right? What did they have to do? They had to, basically, what did they say? They set up, almost like what do you call it? Dang, I can't even think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Like a martial law type thing, in LA. All right. To remove the protesters. Okay. These are the things, right? It says a man shall desire to go into a city, verse 17, and shall not be able. Okay. Because guess what? They're gonna start, once you bring the chaos, then what can you do? You can bring in martial law. All right. Now you have curfews, right? You have the military involved. You have all these different things, right? And once you have that in order or in place, right? Then you can structure and do what you want, right? And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to cause this chaos and the uproar. All right. So, this is Esau starting from those top banking families on down, right? Because they want to push their agenda, right, for this new world order. All right. And ultimately, leading up to Revelation 13 and 16 and 17. All right. That micro sea hip. All right. So they can control, the population. All right. So they're doing these different things. They have these different tactics. All right. And, you know, um, let's get, let's get something real quick. Right. This is why you have to, the scriptures talk about being circumspect, watching and seeing what's going on. All right. When you see the uproars and the different things, right. But it's to be mindful. Okay. Cause this devil, he's planning and he's plotting right before, Jake's eyes, right. Jake is too busy, getting high and drunk to realize what's going on, you know. Perfect example, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, waking out by my sleep because I hear yelling. You got Jake and Eve yelling at each other, in a drunken state, just waking up the whole neighborhood, about folly, right? Right. When in the meanwhile, you got chaos and everything around. Okay. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so he's pushing his agenda. He's pushing these different things, right? He's setting up these different laws and decrees to try to cause reactions and uproars of the people. All right, Isaiah 10:1 says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed," right? Because they're doing this to push the limits of people so they can see people go off, and then they can be like, "Aha, got him!" Right now we have our reasons to do what we need to do, right? And they're gonna push that. All right, and this is why the scriptures say, what is that? Let me see if I can get that. Second Corinthians. Nope. I think it is Slovakia. Nope, it's not. Let me see if I can bring it up. I don't know why I can never remember it. Second Corinthians, yeah. What was 2 Corinthians 2:11, right? Slovakia. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we are not ignorant of his devices." All right, we know his tactics. We know the things that he's trying to do. All right, he's got all these different things set up. Right, he's got all these different scenarios and things that he can use. Right, you got AI right now, right, which is more advanced. Right, he can place and show a video of of lies and deceit, and the AI is good now, that a lot of people will believe it, right? So these are the tactics they're trying to cause everybody to get into an uproar. Why? So then they can shut down the city, they can use martial law, right? And then they can control the masses, right? They continue to talk about people out here, with the mass blickies out here, right? Now everything is a mass blicking, right? When you look at it, right? I've been watching, some of these news things, and they say, well, 3 people deleted, in a mass, blicking. I'm like, oh, okay. And so now everything is going to be considered that. So they're using these words and these tactics, to draw fear, to draw chaos amongst the people so that they can put in their agenda. All right. And ultimately, they want to, take over. They want to control everything. All right. Like the scriptures say, they want to be like the Most High at the end of the day. And ultimately they're pushing that to what? To push their, let's just get it. Revelation 13:16. Right? And it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay? And this is ultimately the agenda that they wanna go to. All right, and they're narrowing the path, right? They can cause chaos, then they can order the people in the direction that they wanted to get them to. All right, so don't be ignorant to this. All right, we see what's going on, right? And the scriptures tell you to watch, right? To be circumspect, okay? To be sober, all right, in these times, all right? Because, this devil and his tactics, he's got all types of things in his agenda, right? He wants to get his agenda. He knows that he has a short time, okay? So it's up to continue to watch, right? And to warn and show the people, okay? So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying, right? But with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well to the Spirit. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying for one another, and continue to watch, all right? And be not ignorant, all right, of this devil and his devices and his tactics, all right? And continue to watch and pray, keep the faith, keep wisdom and knowledge and stability in these times, all right? Because they're only going to get crazier and crazier, all right? And with that, I'll say shalom.